Welcome to Indigenous Media Network News Bulletin. Today, the 23rd of September 2021. First, the headlines. Bahir Dar imposes new measures restricting movements, penalizing businesses, banning unofficial military training in the city. Port Sudan airport closed amid protests. Peace deal is in danger of collapsing, Machar's camp. News in details. Ethiopia. Yesterday, Bahir Dar city administration announced new restrictive measures, banning carrying of weapons in the city, penalizing businesses who violate new directive and banning military training outside official channels. These measures were announced after a meeting of the city's Security Council where issues concerning the peace and security of the city were discussed. The council explained that unknown entities who were working against the survival campaign were engaged in suspicious activities in the city. Consequently, the council decided to ban the carrying of weapons by anyone in the city except for the security forces, to forbid the closing sidewalks, driveways, to close any cobblestone roads for business, to forbidden any legal or illegal gambling organized by any individual or group in our city, to prohibit the opening of casinos, and to prohibit any military training outside government institutions. The council threatened that legal actions will be taken against individuals who violate the law, wreak havoc or engage in aforementioned banned activities. These news measures come only a month after multiple cities in the Amhara region imposed curfews banning vehicle and human movements from nightfall till morning. The city administrations of Bahir Dar, Injibara, Kombolcha, Desi and Deir Burhan explained that these curfews were meant to address the current challenging security situation that requires special monitoring following the ongoing conflict between Amhara regional government and forces loyal to the Tigray People's Liberation Front, TPLF, as well as combating what they described as TPLF infiltrators. Addis Standard. Khartoum. Sudanese protesters on Thursday closed Port Sudan airport amid protests against a 2020 peace deal with rebel groups. Bahir tribes in eastern Sudan have criticized the peace agreement, saying it does not represent them. Port Sudan airport has been closed, as a response to the central government's slowness in finding urgent and immediate solutions to the issue of eastern Sudan. Ahmed Musa, a legal advisor to the High Council of Bahir Nazirs, told Anadolu Agency. Since August 21, 2019, Sudan has been going through a 53-month transitional period that will end with holding elections in early 2024, during which power is shared by the Army, the Forces of Freedom and Change Alliance, FFC, and armed movements that signed a peace agreement with Khartoum on October 3, 2020. On Tuesday, Sudanese authorities thwarted a coup attempt by a group of military officers. Anadolu Agency. South Sudan. South Sudan's 3-year-old peace deal is doomed to collapse unless the parties can settle disputes and create a unified army, the main opposition faction said on Wednesday. The accord signed in September 2018 calls for the reunification of all fighters involved in the civil conflict, but the process has been marred by delays. The peace deal signed in August 2015 collapsed following renewed violence in the capital, Juba, in July 2016. Under the latest peace deal, opposition leader Machar, along with 4 others, was once again reinstated as President Salva Kiir's deputy. A unity government that would prepare the country for elections was formed in early 2020. But even now, critical aspects of the peace deal such as security arrangements, transitional justice, and institutional reforms are behind schedule or completely frozen. In early August, some leaders within First Vice President Riek Machar's SPLAIO said they had deposed him as the head of the party and its military forces. The rival group said Machar had completely failed to show leadership and greatly weakened the party's position in the unity government. The security arrangements dossier is stalling and the forces have been in training camps for 2 years without being graduated, said Dr. Kwang Dak, a member of South Sudan's parliament representing Machar's SPLMIO faction. The deal calls on the parties to the peace deal to assemble, screen and train their respective forces and unify them into a national army. No graduation of military forces has taken place so far. The lawmaker, who is leading a delegation of SPLMIO legislators to neighboring Sudan, said, "We appeal to the guarantors, particularly Sudan which is the IGAD chair, to intervene. If the peace agreement is not implemented fully, there will be problems," Kwang warned, speaking at a press conference in Khartoum on Wednesday. He said the foot-dragging on security arrangements means that the implementation of the peace agreement will not be complete. Under the peace agreement, the government was supposed to fund the security arrangements by supporting the forces. Unfortunately, no support is being provided to the forces in training camps, Kwong said. The legislator further said a shortage of food and medicine is forcing fighters to abandon cantonment sites and training camps across South Sudan, threatening the country's efforts to build a unified army. Meanwhile, John Orridge, a member of South Sudan's parliament representing Machar's SPLM-IO, condemned fighting that erupted between rival factions of Sudan People's Liberation Army in opposition, SPLA-IO, in Upper Nile State, describing the fighting as senseless. Our faction is not the main cause for delays in the implementation of the security arrangements. The main partner to peace, the SPLM, is to blame for the failure of the security file, which is a cornerstone of the peace agreement, he said. There was no immediate comment from the government or KIS supporters. Radio Tamazuj. Thanks for listening. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel for more news and updates. Join us again in our next news bulletin.